Guys, I am so keen for this and I hope you guys are as well. Hi, welcome back to another Princess Connect video. My name is Lace and today we're going to be talking about clan battles again. I know, I swear the content in this is a little bit different to the other stuff. This is just preparation, more preparation, except this is very, very targeted. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because I think that clan battle is actually coming out in about a week's time. So just because of all the thoughts around the acceleration and stuff, so that kind of made me think like, when is clan battle going to start? So for JP, the first clan battle actually started about 30 days after the official launch. And if we assume an acceleration factor of 1.3 times, then that means that we should expect clan battle to actually be released 20 days after our launch. Our launch was on 20th of January 2021. At 20 days, that's actually 10th of February, which is 7 days from now. So I figured might as well get some more preparation out because we only have 7 days left to prepare. Actually, this is cutting it really, really close. I'm sorry guys, this just kind of crept up on me. I thought it'd be at the end of the month, but apparently not. If we do get a little bit more time to prepare, then let's celebrate a little bit because I don't even have my Kari yet. Don't kick me, clan. But without further ado, let's just get into it. This guide that I've prepared here, it's actually still in the nerd docs, so I'm sure you guys are completely familiar with this. I've dumped everything that I've done so far into this spreadsheet. So it is adapted from a Chinese guide. So if you guys have seen that Chinese guide, know that this is based on that. I read through it and I agreed with most, if not all of it. For me personally, I just added a lot more information. So let's go through the team composition first. So you can see that this is actually split by with Saren and without Saren. It's funny how Saren is a game changer to all of this. The first thing you'll realize is that you don't see any magical DPS, and that's because magic DPS sucks right now. And I don't mean magical DPS generally, I mean magical single target DPS. If you think about it, we have Anna, Hatsune, Io, all these AoE, awesome magical AoE DPS, right? But they are only suitable really in arena. Over time, they may become suitable in clan battle, but that might take 2 years or so when multi-target finally comes out. So again, for now, that is the rationale, especially for picking only physical DPS single target focused ones. Because remember, the abridged version of clan battles is that we're going to be fighting 5 bosses in succession and we're going to loop that over and over. So let's start with the first team, the one with the Saren in it. And the reason why this actually changes things is because Saren is used here to actually buff up Makoto so that you can get Makoto's defense down more and more. As a result, you should be hitting way harder because you're going to have a lot more defense down, especially with the massive uptime from Makoto and the Jun. You're going to be borrowing a big Kari. And for you guys who don't know, Kari is probably currently the best physical single target DPS in the game right now. Stack that with your Shiori and you're golden. Obviously, you can kind of replace some of them, Shiori and Kari are both physical DPSs, so you can come over to the list and have a look at which one you want to plug in. But to summarize, it's really only the Saren team that's kind of weird. Otherwise, you can kind of read through the rest and you can make your own decisions there. I guess if you have a look at the general composition, it's usually 1 tank, 3 DPS, and 1 support. What's the most crucial for each team is that you have at least 1 tank. Not only that, you also have 2 defense down units at least. You can see Jun, Makoto, Mitsuki, and okay, we're missing one here, but if you could put in a Shinobu or something, that'd probably be really good. Otherwise, the inverse of defense down is to actually buff your own units. So the biggest ones for me would be Kokoro, and that's probably the best one, to be honest. So yeah, I think you can read through this. It makes a lot of sense. Just make sure that you have all these units, and then these guys you can fill it with any of these guys here. These guys are not ranked, although the ones that are already in the team, these are the best top physical DPS units. So you shouldn't look to change those, but if you have Jita, for example, Eriko, Tamaki, Suzuna, these are all great candidates to fill your PDPS. On the support side, obviously the more damage you do, the better. So Kokoro is king, right? Kokoro gives you 20% attack speed as well as physical damage, and on her Yubi, she also gives physical and magical damage. That's pretty busted, man. However, don't think about slotting Kokoro in between here because it's gonna stuff up your Saren Makoto combo. Otherwise, you've got the TP gains from Maho and Yukari. I really wouldn't recommend using Monica because Monica drastically, her efficiency drastically decreases after the first 20 seconds. Kokoro actually keeps rebuffing her buffs over and over, which makes her a sustainable support. But Monica does a big burst at the start and then nothing. So it's 50% attack speed at the start and then nothing. A big rationale as to why it's Shiori here and not Suzuna is because Shiori gets more and more damage over time. If you give her the full minute 30, she's actually going to out DPS a lot of the physical DPS units. And honestly, if you're going to use units like Hiyori, for example, at least make her 2 stars, right? Because remember, starring up a unit will actually give them additional stats. And if you're focusing your resource, focus your resources on the physical DPSs because it is their damage that is going to be multiplied. You don't focus your resources on these guys because they're just providing the utility. For example, you could focus all of your stamina into starring up Kokoro, but it's not going to change the fact that she's only going to buff up 20% attack speed or X amount of physical damage. However, if you focus your stamina on say Shiori, she's going to be doing more and more damage, and that damage is going to be multiplied even more and more. So that being said, I'm pretty sure you guys can read through these teams and just put it together and then just slot in your own units because you can't expect everyone to have the same units, right? There is a little bit of flexibility, but by and large, I think you guys guys see who the core units are. Another caveat is that you cannot use Kari with Nozomi because Nozomi stands behind Kari. Or rather, let's put it more accurately, Kari stands in front of Nozomi, which is a little bit weird. Not a problem, these thoughts have been incorporated into this. So like you got these guys, you got these guys, and you got Nozomi team without the Kari in it. Another thing to note is that if you have any like TP altering units, so for example, Tamaki, so if you guys don't know, Tamaki actually like alters the enemy's TP. Just remember to test it out a lot because that actually changes the boss's UB a lot. The other thing to think about is that you could actually replace like some of these guys with Kuka. Like Kuka is, remember, a magical tank. So if you're versing one of the magical bosses, you could consider using her. But otherwise, there's not really anyone that like you should really avoid. Like everyone in here is pretty decent DPS. I'd probably rank like Shinobu like towards the bottom, and Hiyori is kind of like towards the bottom as well. And of the supports, I probably would like rank Monica on the bottom. Again, remember guys, as I always tell you, it's about the principles. It's about like how you do it rather than like who I tell you. There's going to be new units that come out, and then with these kinds of learnings, these kinds of ideas, you're going to be able to know where they slot in terms of these positions. The last thing that I think you need to know is the defense down mechanics. So how does it actually work? So at like 200 defense, the boss gets a 66% damage reduction. So that means that you only deal 34% damage to it. And then as you defense down it, it goes lower and lower until you deal like full damage to him. This actually severely affects like which boss you attack with which kind of teams and stuff like that. But for now, I think for the first CB especially, like you can only really do as much as you can, especially if we are all running like physical DPS teams. So with that being said, let's move on to the bosses themselves. So we've got the first 4 bosses and then like the main boss himself. We start off with Wyvern, which is a physical attacking boss. So as you can see over here, I'm going to clean this up later. I just don't have time right now, but like each of these bosses actually have like a main attribute. Wyvern and Lydon are predominantly physical attackers, and Griffin and Neptarian are predominantly magic attackers. The biggest thing that this could mean is that it might change your composition, like depending on like maybe some characters have more magical defense or physical defense than the others. For example, if I had to use a tank here, it could be Kuka, but it might not always be like that because you got the well-balanced tanks such as like Nozomi and Jun. And at the end of the day, as long as you can survive, you should be focusing on doing as much damage as possible rather than trying to survive. Although you need to remember also that dead DPS is no DPS. What we've got here underneath is actually the physical and magical damage of each boss. So if you remember from my first video, you remember that we actually do the whole boss circuit first. So you kill Wyvern, then Griffin, then blah, 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 all the way to the Melsatim. And then you actually start from the very start again. So say your clan actually managed to clear the circuit once. Then what happens is that you actually start from the second stage here, and then you go through the second stage for each of these guys. So what you realize is actually the second time you go through it, Wyvern has actually gained 50 physical defense. And then you got like Lydon and Neptarion who are like absolutely juiced out. I mean, like there isn't too much that you can change about this aside from the fact that like, you know, you see that the back 2 bosses actually are way harder than the front 2 bosses. So what this means is that you should designate the weaker clan members to actually attack the first 2 bosses. Right now, we can't do much about like the magical defense because again, like nobody's going to have really good magical comps. But like I said, like getting the weaker guys to attack the front guys is probably the best you can do. The last thing to note, I think, is that this guy, the Melsatim, he actually changes every month. So you're not going to be fighting Melsatim every month. There are actually 12 big bosses. It is based on the zodiac over 12 months. Melsatim is obviously like a sheep. As each month changes, the different bosses have different stats and also movesets. For Melsatim in particular, he does like big magic damage, so you better be prepared for that. I don't know. Yukari, hello? And that's only if you can't survive. If you can survive, take somebody like that does more damage. The last thing to note is that as you get to the 3rd stage and the 4th stage, aka the 3rd or 4th run through, the last boss's moveset actually changes. So he actually gets like some like crazy big AoE skill, or like he does like stuns like 2 of your best units, some bullshit like that, right? Aside from that, guys, I think I've covered it off pretty well. Like these are the team compositions that I'm kind of looking at. These are the bosses, and you can kind of see like what they're doing here. And all in all, I think we only have 7 days left to prepare. Obviously, R7, Max Refine, Max Bond. Don't forget about Bond. I actually forgot about Bond for a couple of days. And to be honest, you should be good. I'll definitely be doing like a run through of the actual gameplay because like, you know, a lot of this might just go like way over your head. It's a lot harder to visualize all of this. So take this as like a preparation 2.0, I guess. But again, guys, like I think the final tip here, and I mentioned it in my other video, but you do need to use that test feature. The best thing that you can do with that tool is that you need to go in and you need to figure out the combinations or the timings of your UBs, which will yield you the biggest amount of damage. Otherwise, clan leaders, I can feel for you guys, man. You guys are about to be like oh my god, there's going to be like a lot of organization that's about to happen. You got like the weaker guys attacking like the first 2 bosses, and then you got the stronger guys attacking the last 2, and then who's going to kill like the final boss and all that jazz. That being said, guys, try to at least have fun with it. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool content. I think that's it for the video. As always, links will be down below, and you already know what time it is. It is secret message time. 2 times defense down. If you guys could drop that secret message down in the comments below, I would really appreciate it. You guys already know, it lets me know that you guys have actually made it to this part of the video, which is the end, and I am always forever grateful. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If this video has helped you in any shape, way, or form, or whatever, you already know what to do. Just like, subscribe, comment. If you have any more questions or you need some help, come drop by our Discord. And if you have some time to kill, just drop by my stream. I think that's it. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.